the rest of the world doesn't exist. Something like more gratifying about just being out on your own with your family, of course, but in nature. You can kind of do everything at your own pace and worry only about the things that you want to worry about. There's a certain solitude that the wilderness and being really out deep in the woods, far away from like the rest of civilization. It's a place where my other family members have gone to find that inner peace in themselves. I have a cousin who's a painter who spent a month just up there doing landscapes and painting the environment. Well, if something goes wrong when you're out in the wilderness, you're the person that you have to rely on. Keep the fire going, keep it stoked, make sure that it's warm when you get back in the dead of winter and you don't freeze to death. There's also a responsibility. You have to be respectful to nature and what you take out of the woods. I do a lot of hunting up there. That's originally why my grandfather bought the place, was to have a place to hunt that reminded him of where he grew up in the Upper Peninsula. I specifically enjoy hunting ruffed grouse, which are a chicken-like bird. They're a little bit faster in flight than a chicken, but they do walk around on the ground a good amount. Sometimes when you're following grouse, you won't even know that they're there, and all you'll hear is and that means it just took off, and you have about 2 seconds to react. That's what I enjoy the most, but I also do other hunting and fishing up there as well. They're all just different things that my father has shown me how to do. Going up north and spending that time outdoors with my dad is not something that I was always super invested in or a very big part of. A lot of my teenage years, I would just stay home. It's something that I got into more recently in the past few years, though, because it gives me that opportunity to spend time with my dad and just him and not worry about other things going on in life. I realized that I was truly just missing out for myself and for my dad all the times that I didn't join him going up north and having those experiences together. That time with him is something that I needed more of and wanted more of in my life. I realized that this was a good way to spend that quality time with my dad that I had wanted. After not living at home for a few years, from the time I was around 16 to 22, I lived at different dormitories and with a girlfriend for a while. And after that relationship ended, I realized that I needed more time at home with my family. So before I was 16, for a couple of years, I had already stopped living at my mother's house. My parents are divorced. But when I was 16, he got remarried without telling me. My father had sent me on a spring break field trip to Puerto Rico with my Spanish class. And when I returned, he had dropped the news on me that he had gotten remarried to my stepmother, and they had to combine both households. And it was kind of a situation where there was not going to be enough room for everybody in the family to stay in that one house. And it's not really something that I wanted to be a part of. There was just a lot of hoarding going on. It was a messy situation. Nobody was ever bad to each other or anything. It was just not a comfortable situation to try to complete schoolwork in or even walk through the house. So I had made the decision to leave as soon as possible, but it wasn't like we weren't on speaking terms. I would still eat dinner with him once or twice a month and help him work on something. And we talked very honestly and openly about why he got remarried, why the situation was what it was. It was hard to get him to understand why I felt like I had to leave, but eventually we were able to talk through it with each other, and he understood why I felt the way that I did. I needed more room for me to just finish school. And for the past few years, I've been working for him. He owns a glass company. That was another way that I got to spend time with my dad despite not living at home. After working with him for a couple of years, I realized that I would like to see more of him in a situation that isn't focused on work. I'd like to spend that time with him doing what we enjoy, not just what we have to do to earn a living. My dad has pretty much always left an open invitation on the table for me to go up north with him and join him that I realized I need to take him up on if I want to spend that time with my father while he still can. He's getting older, he's 62, and while he's still healthy and can experience and show me what he knows about the outdoors and the wilderness and hunting, I need to take him up on that now. The hunting offer that I really took him up on, though, because I was excited for it, was ruffed grouse. It's a lot more action-packed sort of a hunt than deer hunting. Most of the time that you hunt deer, you're very sedentary and you're just waiting in a blind for them. What made me take my dad's offer up on going hunting and spending more time with him was that he was getting back into grouse hunting again, which you walk through the woods all day long, sun up, sun down, and you get to see and experience a lot more of that nature and that wilderness. You walk through the woods, typically with your dog as well, and you just try to flush the grouse up from their ground or from the trees that they're roosting in sometimes, and you always got to shoot them on the fly because they take off and there's a thunderous flush that their wings make. You have 2 seconds to shoot them while they're in the air, and it's a very exciting time. We have a neighbor who owned the property down the road from us. He was our family's lawyer and another good friend who had been going up there since around 1977 with my family. He had passed away a couple of years ago, and that really struck a note with my dad too, because our lawyer, Neil, he didn't ever really get to enjoy the going up north and seeing the wilderness as much as my family did. His sons were all kind of older and never really into hunting. It meant a lot for my family to have me and my brother involved in the hunting and going up north and spending that time with our family. It wasn't what made me go back to the hunting, but it cemented that idea in my mind that when my dad asked me if I want to go up north, I make the time for it and I don't miss out on that, because there are so many other times that I already missed out on, and you never know how much time you have left.